Hey, welcome back. It is a fine Friday indeed. You are watching Liquid Lunch on NEWSMAX TV. I'm John Tobacco. We're coming to you live today, noon to 2 Eastern, from the NEWSMAX downtown studios on Broadway. Just a 5 wood down to the New York Stock Exchange. Nancy Pelosi is saying that this is a terrible thing for the economy, and Trump is saying America rocks. A free market speaks for itself, and the Dow, as we speak, up 260 points today. I think that says it all, that the sentiment is good. And we're going to talk about the economy, the architecture of Donald Trump's economy. We're going to talk about Trumponomics with a very special guest today. Dr. Stephen Moore joins us today on Liquid Lunch. Thanks for joining us, sir.
Mr. Moore, do we have you? Mr. Moore, can you hear us okay?
All
right, we're going to work on
Stephen Moore
connecting with him.
Well, how are you?
I'm doing well.
I hear people there.
What are you looking at behind us?
Well, someone on the outside on that dumpster across the street where they're doing some construction, someone hung a sign that said Trump SUCKS.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
And they did it specifically because they know it's right over my shoulder in the one shot. So we sent Anthony over there to clean up the litter. It looked like it was going to fall off and be in the street. Before it became garbage, not picked up, we put it in the dumpster.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
So childish, you know, but hey, I guess free speech too. We love it. We love it.
That's for sure.
Frank, the employment numbers that came out today, plus 128,000 jobs in October. We still have this problem going on with GM, so the numbers were good. Unemployment ticks up to 3.6%. You know, so people don't understand. You know about this.
Right.
It's actually like when more people are getting jobs, that means less people are looking for jobs. So there's this crazy cross-correlation with the Bureau of Labor and Statistics that people falling out of the workforce don't get counted anymore. So by factor of less people, the number could actually tick up.
I understand
when you're having better times.
No,
it's crazy.
That makes sense. Still, 3.6% unemployment is still
tremendous.
Pretty good.
What do you mean pretty good? It's like the lowest in 60 years or something. And you know, we're dealing with a much bigger pool of people here.
That's for sure. I will tell you, I know you're going to get into this with the politics panel in just a couple of minutes, but I was a little dismayed at the resignation of Katie Hill, the Congresswoman from California yesterday. Now, I'm no fan of Congresswoman Hill. I wouldn't vote for her, and I thought her speech yesterday, in which she chose to take shots at the president, was really not the way to go. It's certainly not what I would have gone. But what you've seen here with this woman, Katie Hill, is a woman that has had a consensual adult relationship, and she's never been accused of coercing anyone, never been accused of abusing anyone, and yet her private affairs became public for no good reason other than that people love to gossip about sex. And now she's been forced to resign. Her ex-husband has basically used these images and these texts as revenge porn. So why was she forced to resign?
That's not a good look.
Honestly. Why was she forced to resign?
Maybe I don't know.
Sense.
I don't know. I mean,
so a vengeful ex-partner releases snippets of photos and texts, and that's supposed to be sufficient, authoritatively, for all of us to opine on her public affairs, or private affairs, rather. And I tell you,
if you run for office, right? I've done it. You've never done it, but you're considering it. You got to really think about everything's fair game.
I completely disagree.
And if you disagree, you don't think everything's fair game.
I don't.
Well, no. I'm not saying that's how it should be, but I'm saying that's the climate we're in now. They can find something, you're getting it.
And I'll be curious to see what the panel says, but the guy I give the most credit to on this is Congresswoman Matt Gaetz, who's a very Trumpian guy, a Republican from Florida.
Why did you call him Congresswoman?
Congressman.
Oh, I thought you said Congresswoman.
Well, no, it's definitely Congressman. But so he tweeted in defense of Katie Hill, "Who among us would look perfect if every ex leaked every photo and text? Katie isn't being investigated by ethics or maligned because she hurt anyone. It's because she's different." Amen, Matt Gaetz. And I give him all the credit in the world for standing up for somebody on the other side of the aisle, somebody that he probably disagrees with almost all the time. And, so they're saying the reason that this was going to be an ethics complaint is because the woman that was in this throuple with she and her husband was a campaign staffer. Well, somebody talked to me about Congressman Alcee Hastings. By the way, Congressman Alcee Hastings used to be federal judge Alcee Hastings. You know why he's not federal judge Alcee Hastings anymore? Because he was impeached and removed from office.
Kamala Harris had the same thing going, didn't she?
Well, but so Alcee Hastings had no problem voting for this impeachment resolution yesterday, even though he himself was impeached and removed from office as a federal judge. And yet Alcee Hastings lives with one of his congressional staffers, not a campaign staffer, a congressional staffer.
Well, let's impeach Trump.
Well, why is there one set of standards for Alcee Hastings and one set of standards for Katie Hill? This is absurd. Shame on that website, Red State, for publishing these photographs of Katie Hill. Shame on her ex-husband for trying to use the fact that this woman's a politician to exploit her this way. And the ex-husband strikes me as a pretty evil person. And the people salivating over every salacious detail of these people's sex lives, I think, ought to get a life themselves. So I am eager to see what happens in the congressional election, because this is not a Democratic seat. This historically was always a Republican seat. It's a district that I think Trump won. And George Papadopoulos.
That's one of the Trump districts. And I think a Republican was in that seat for like 40 years.
Right. And
like
George
that.
Papadopoulos, who's been a guest on the show, he's actually running.
We should get him on
for
here.
the seat.
We should get him on here.
Yeah,
Papadopoulos.
it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
We told the story on What's the Deal on Newsmax TV, and he said all along that the whole collusion thing was a hoax.
Right,
he knew it from the beginning.
I've railed against the overstepping of the Me Too movement when...
No, you have. You're right. When it's men, like you even stuck up for Matt Lauer, which was a little tough to swallow. But you've been a big proponent, a big advocate of indictment by public opinion.
Right.
Like, let it happen, and if something's there, but don't just assume guilt.
Alan Dershowitz has a new book out about that. He's actually going to come on our show and talk about that.
I love when Alan Dershowitz comes on. It's an honor. But you just reminded me of something. I took a picture of my television screen this morning, so I remembered this. I don't know if you could see that, but you're talking about, being indicted in the court of public opinion and all this stuff. Max Rose, another one of these midterm, first-term Democrats who snookered a Republican seat right in our district, New York 11, was quoted in New York Magazine by saying, "The president says he is innocent, so all we are saying is, prove it." That's Max Rose's quote, right there, New York Magazine. Where in our system does it say, if you're innocent, prove it?
Well, I think what's even more absurd about that is because Max Rose actually wrote an op-ed saying that they shouldn't go forward with impeachment.
Because it would divide us even more.
Right.
So he's a two-faced liar. You know what I'm saying? He goes right in our district and says that he's not going to be for impeachment. He writes in the little old local yokel Staten Island Advance that he's against impeachment because it will divide us.
I just want to clarify one thing. Katie Hill's district actually did go for Hillary Clinton in 2016, but it was held by Republicans in Congress since 1993. So it's one of these purple districts.
So I was close.
But yes.
I was close.
Yeah. And I'm the one that said I thought Trump won.
If it's a purple district, then we got to put it on our map. Maybe a good Democrat there we like. If the Republicans too extreme, as long as we know that we're going to get people in there who are going to support the president, I'm trying to work on
All right.
that.
Well, I'm looking forward to this Mix It Up panel coming up next.
Yeah, me too. I love Rob Taub. I haven't seen him in a while. And Valdez is the best. This should be good. And Taub is a cool cat. He's from Staten Island also. Stay right there. We're going to take a quick break, come back after this, and mix it up only like the purple people can. Back right after this.